Hello, friends. Welcome to the Truth to You Daily Podcast with Brother Scott. We are thrilled that you have taken time out of your day to explore with us God's timeless truth. Regardless of who we are, we all need the light of God's Word to illuminate our path for this day. And now, here is our youth pastor, Brother Scott.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It is Monday, November the 21st, and it is the week of Thanksgiving. So really excited about that. And we have Miss Christina here on the podcast with us today, and I'm thrilled about what you're going to be making this week for me.
Yes, I will definitely be in the kitchen more this week. I will say that right now.
Yeah, going to be doing some, I guess it's tradition, I don't know, but we tend to enjoy the turducken.
We got turkey, duck, and chicken.
Yep.
All in one.
They put it all together, and it's real easy. You buy it from Wegmans and throw it in. It's really, really good. I'll tell you who got us started on this, though, was the Johnsons.
Yes.
This is tradition for them, and I heard them talking about it. I said, I got to do that, and it's now become our tradition, too.
And with all of those, do you have a favorite meat?
All three together.
Really?
Three together.
My
yeah,
favorite,
the variety.
My favorite is actually the duck, surprisingly.
Okay.
So,
well,
I'll enjoy some duck
this
Thanksgiving.
Hopefully, we don't just eat all of that, but we'll share in all the meats.
Sides.
It'll be good. Yeah, can't wait. All right, let's go ahead and get to our memory verse. It's 1 Samuel 2 and verse 2. The Bible says, "There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God." 1 Samuel 2 and verse 2. One more time. 1 Samuel 2 and verse 2. "There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God." 1 Samuel 2 and verse 2. Okay, we're in 1 Samuel chapter 9, and hopefully you've had a chance to read this already. But 1 Samuel chapter 9, we're going to talk about it. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of the context of what we're going to be doing here. Would you read 1 Samuel 9 and verse 2 for us, or at least part of the verse there?
The little bit here. So it says, "Whose name was Saul, a choice young man and a goodly," which the verse does keep going. But that's the main part. He was a choice young man and goodly.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the Bible tells us about Saul in this passage, and we're given some things that sort of help us understand what he must have looked like in the eyes of the people. And we're going to talk about things that matter. Focusing on things that matter is really a great place to start when you're arranging your priorities, things that are most important. And the truth is, there's some things we enjoy doing that probably don't matter a whole lot when considering the more important things in our lives. But let's take, for instance, qualities of a leader, which I think, looking at the leadership qualities of the characters in the book of 1 Samuel is a great thing, because you can see a lot of qualities for good and bad. But if we consider, maybe qualities that we might look for, there are some traits that do matter.
Right.
And maybe let's sort of springboard from here. What are some traits that you would say matter in regards to leadership?
So, first that would come to mind, we have integrity, which is basically what you do when no one's looking. It's your character. What you are when there's no incentives or you think people are watching.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do just when you're by yourself. Honesty, which is a little bit more in relation to others. If you're honest with them. Good work ethic. We need to work hard. You need to be caring of other people. If you just think you're the latest and greatest and they're beneath me, I'm a senior, they're a seventh grader, why should I give them the time of day? Having the attitude that when you lead, that you have everybody in mind, whether they're way younger than you, whether they're the same age, whether they may have as many talents or more or less, whatever, how we treat other people.
Yeah.
Is a really big those are some really big ones.
Yeah, definitely. And, our listeners are, not going to be leading a nation right now, but they
Maybe
can
later.
be leaders in their class, in their
Yes,
home, certainly, having integrity and honesty and working well with your siblings, all of those things really, elevate you and allow you to have influence
Right.
over people. And those are really, again, what are we going back to? What are we talking about? We're talking about the things that really matter, right?
Yes.
So how foolish it would be for us to maybe put all the focus on maybe lesser valued things, right? Such as maybe the color of a person's hair or, the height, or their stature. Some things really just don't matter a whole lot. We could say, though, that there are some things that maybe our society,
Yes.
emphasizes,
Right.
that, they put forth as, hey, these are the most important things. And the reason we're talking about this is because, really the Bible is giving us some things that were very compelling in regards to the way people viewed Saul. And that's what the verse 2 entails. So we looked at some things that mattered, but number 2, let's talk about some things that really don't matter that much.
Right. So Saul, the verse says, he was goodly. And another part of the chapter talks about how he was tall. He was head and shoulders above everybody else. You could see him. And that's really what the people were looking like mainly. I mean, maybe he had some other qualities that weren't just appearance, but that was a lot of what they were basing their decision upon, was that he was tall, he looked good, he looks like he could lead people, and that's a lot of what they were focusing on when it all comes down to the matter of the heart. And Israel really got a big lesson later on, obviously, as they realized Saul had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
That you couldn't tell from the outside. It looked good.
Yeah. Right. So it says that he was a choice young man here. That is the idea of sort of the prime of life, where he's the right age. People looked at him and, hey, this is a guy that's going places, which that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know that it's a very wise thing to put a 90-year-old man, in a position to lead his country.
Right.
But nonetheless, these are all external things that would have been appealing. Hey, prime of life, right? Here's a man who's goodly. That has the idea of handsome. Here's a man that is exceptional. They said there's nobody like him. He was head and shoulders above everybody else. He's an exceptional individual. But those things, although they're appealing to our eyes, are not the most important things. And so we have to be very careful that we don't misprioritize. Am I concerned about the way that I look? Well, I should be to a degree,
Right.
but I shouldn't be so concerned with that I'm downcast because I'm not more appealing than I may be,
Right.
or I think I am,
Yeah.
to an extent.
Or even who you look up to, and maybe who you think is the cool kid or whatever, and sometimes, well, they're tall and they look good, so therefore, I want to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be even celebrities in our culture, like, they look good, and,
Yeah,
they look happy, whatever, I'm going to follow after them.
yeah.
And what are we really looking at? Are those things that really matter in the end is just what we look like and what, all the outward appearances?
Yeah. And I think it should be said, I think David was a handsome dude. The Bible, I think, mentions that. There's
Right.
not too many places, though, where it mentions these kinds of characteristics,
Yeah.
but the other two that my mind automatically goes to would be that of Saul and then Samson.
Right.
And both those guys struggled greatly.
And they looked good. They were strong.
Sure, they got a lot of attention,
Yes.
and maybe that attention, was
Went to
something
their
that,
head.
right, that they
Yes.
they were living for in a sense. And
Right.
when they didn't get it, there's all these problems and, things just, now that is not to say that good looking people are all bad. Okay.
No.
Certainly not, because you're here, sweetheart.
Oh,
and
and
wasn't
you're
that
here.
nice? Oh, okay. All right, we're dropping listeners. We
Okay,
better keep going.
sorry.
All right, so things that matter. Let's be careful. Let's be careful.
In our own lives, what we are seeking after ourselves, and then I would say who we look up to and who we follow after. Are we just trying to follow after what looks appealing or what really matters?
Yeah. It's a good challenge, a good thought here. And the story, we're reading this as it goes along. The story of Saul is sort of unraveling. Okay, or it's not unraveling yet, but it's rolling
being
out,
told.
and there's some good things happening. There's some interesting things that we can kind of glean from, but nonetheless, lessons along the way, principles that we can examine and think about that help us better follow Christ. And that's the whole point of it all, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, before we go, I want to mention our teenager of the day, and it is Nylan. Praying for Nylan today. Hope that you'll take time to do that. Hope all our listeners have a happy Thanksgiving. I know it's
Yes.
only Monday, but we're definitely thankful for all our listeners, right?
Absolutely. Thankful for you and what God's going to do in your life, and focus on things that matter. Can start today.
Indeed. All right, everyone take care.
All right.